So it is my honor and pleasure to introduce the first recipient of the Researcher Prize from Forska, Sverige, Research Sweden. And the criteria are based on the fact that it should be an individual scientist that has published medical results or results in scientific journals of high quality and of direct value to healthcare. And the motivation for the recipient I'll come back to shortly. The award for 2012 goes to Professor Borrebaeck, and I will soon read the motivation. He receives this award for his groundbreaking research within medicine in general and for his extensive entrepreneurship. More specifically, Borrebaeck is Professor of Immunotherapy, Immunotechnology, and Vice Rector at Lund University responsible for innovation. His research field is antibody engineering, immunotherapy, B-cell lymphomas, molecular mechanisms of allergy and antibody microarrays for high-throughput proteomics. He has published well over 250 papers in peer-reviewed journals. And he's currently the manager of the Sverige-dagen Microarray Research Center and the director of the strategic center Create Health. He's a permanent member of the Royal Academy of Engineering Sciences and a co-founder of the biotech companies BioInvent International AB and Alligator Bioscience AB. Thus, Borrebaeck is, apart from being an eminent scientist, also a driven entrepreneur with inventions that can be used in the clinical setting. I think we should give him a hand to begin with. Before you were given the physical representations of this prize, we will have a little discussion and a chat about this. I think you're slightly prepared for this. So, could you let us know what has been the driving force to begin with for you to not only do research and move into the clinic?
Well, first let me say I'm deeply honored of receiving this award, and I think especially for the fact that we are trying to take advanced science into the health organizations. This is a difficult task, but over the last 5-6 years we've had quite nice funding to do this. And the Create Health Translational Cancer Center, which I'm directing, is focusing on clinical problems. So instead of, and I'm not saying we shouldn't look at signal pathways and try to understand the basics of cancer, we talk to the clinical oncologist in the center and we define what problems we can use our advanced technologies on. So this is really the same purpose as Research Sweden. And for me, it's tremendous sort of happiness to see that something we do in the lab actually then can improve life, improve diagnosis, therapy for the patients.
Has the creation of the center that you now head changed the game, so to speak? Because your early translations did not depend on a center, did they?
No, I think what we can do now is much more efficiently bring out, and it's not an easy task because we're trying to change the way people think.
Mm-hmm.
And we need,
in what way?
Well, we need from the health organization a better way to implement advanced science. And that's today is our major problem. And what we do and what we try to do then is, there are two ways of doing it. Either you work very closely with the politicians, and the other way is try to commercialize what we have and then implement it into the health organization that way. And both of the ways takes time, and particularly changing the minds of at least in the region Skåne, our politicians. No offense, not politicians. So it takes a while, but I think everybody agrees that instead of waiting 10-15 years for the patients to actually see what we can and benefit what we can do today, if we have this implementation strategy clear, we can do it in maybe 2-3 years.
That's pretty quick for clinical trials.
That's the driving force, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we are, of course, awarding you for your successes. Are there any failures that you wish to share and what you learn something from and maybe become more successful afterwards?
I think what I try to teach my students is kill your darlings.
Are you good at that?
I think I'm fairly good at that. I had some really interesting research projects that I absolutely loved, and they turned out to not be so good, so we immediately just canceled them.
So you can be gun for hire?
Absolutely.
For other organizations?
Yes, yes.
We have you're limited in time, I know, since you have to go to the airport, but are there any questions or comments to our awardee of any kind? Are things different in Lund than elsewhere, do you believe? You said it's difficult in the Skåne region maybe to some degree, but...
I think it's very similar all over the nation, and I think also what we see in Lund and what we have the opportunity now to build a completely new cancer center when AstraZeneca left us, and we're extremely pleased of being able to take over the entire site, which is a tremendous site.
The physical infrastructure.
Yes, and now we're populating it with all our top scientists at Lund University and also outside. And that will be just a tremendous boost for what we're doing, and also attracts a lot of attention from the politicians. So we use that now to further implement into the health organizations. So it's very exciting times.
The overarching goal for this foundation is, as Anna indicated, of course, to somehow strengthen medical research for the well-being of the country in various ways. From your perspective, what would be the most important changes, politically speaking, or governance-wise, or funding-wise naturally, but governance and policy? Do you have any, from your perspective? Does it regard IP? Is it only money? Is it good people that can drive the projects?
Yeah, I think it's what we've seen. Our experience is really that if we can have the opportunity to bring people together, all the way down from chemical biologists to clinical oncologists, nanotechnologists, and all kinds of that creates a tremendous creativity. And we've been able to raise a lot of money. I mean, it's easy to say we need more money, but there are a lot of money. And if we can bring these types of expertise together, we can do things that we couldn't do 5 years ago.
In a purpose-driven development process.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
To follow up on that, what are the obstacles for doing that? Because if you know what to do, why can't it be done?
This is, I hope I don't tread on too many toes here.
Please do.
I think we have a rather traditional and conventional way of looking at funding. It's the individual, it's the old NIH way of thinking. We are sprinkling money over good individuals, and I'm not saying we shouldn't, but what we should also be prepared to look at these types of creations where you put people together and where you sort of have a high risk but high return. And we are too conventional. Our research fundings are too conventional. I've been part of it myself, so I know what I'm saying. I've been sitting at some of these foundations for 5-6 years. So we think very much like we thought 20 years ago.
Some people may claim that the pendulum has swung very far in the direction of centers of excellence or various types of more central bodies with larger groups of researchers, and that the research group in the classical sense is starving. You wouldn't agree on that?
No, I think what we should, when I said kill my darlings, I think the research foundations also should be very tough in the evaluations. So if there is a center of excellence that doesn't perform, close it down.
Is that politically possible with a big beast?
I think it is. I think it is. I think we're just being a bit too kind.
Any other comments or questions? Yes, please.
How helpful have industry been
To
in what sense?
in terms of the successes that you've had in the clinic?
You mean big pharma, for example? Okay.
More and more as time goes by, I would say. Initially, not so much. But then the research climate has changed for all the big pharma, and we have much more collaborations now and contacts now than we did just 5-6 years ago. There's a completely new way of thinking in way of collaborating with scientists and research centers like mine. So hopefully in the next 5-6 years. So we have a lot of MOUs we are discussing now with Big Pharma, and that's very encouraging, especially also for the younger students.
We're approaching your taxi departure, and therefore we have the honor to hand over this plaque with the motivation inscribed, and of course Research Sweden. So again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We also have the honor to provide a specially crafted gift.
So that's especially made for Research Sweden. We own the way for it. It's artist Lotta Fogelström that's made it. And I hope it will remind you of everybody else's appreciation of your work and keep you inspired.
It also has an inscription.
Oh.
Very
Delicate.
delicate.
This is the artist. So, thank you again for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm honored.